You want?
Yeah, it looks like they've got a pretty good turnout on the boats out there, Gary. This is pretty important to the local area here. They've been closed, or not closed, but restricted from retaining Chinook salmon for almost the whole season right now. The essence of it is all of the fish that they're trying to save have already passed this area, or the vast majority of them have. They're not asking for a lot. They think it's only fair that they can retain at least one hatchery fish. That means that by retaining a hatchery fish, they're going to release all the wild ones. So even the impact on any of the stocks are concerned is going to be extremely minimal or nothing at all. Besides, Gary, basically the rest of the coast, including Washington State's open. It's the southern part of the Gulf, Juan de Fuca Strait, Victoria, that's taking an unnecessary punishment here that has really no basis in conservation.
Well, you know, it's still not as busy. It's still not as busy as what you see out at Beachy Head. You know,
No.
when the bite's on.
No. Well, the message is out that fishing's closed, Gary.
Yeah.
You know it's a terrible impact, and it could have been avoided. That's the thing, eh? This whole thing could have been avoided with some common sense regulations that still would have conserved the stocks and done the job that way. This is totally unnecessary right now, and it's a sad commentary on politics and the Department of Fisheries.
How you doing? Good, thanks.
Not bad.
How's that?
You bet, Paul.
He's okay. If they keep out of the box.
Yeah. That's the same part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just.
You can always tell people who don't know very much about filming on a boat. The guy's got a tripod. Like this accents everything
that's
from
gonna
the
work
top
really
like
well.
this. Yeah, right.
There's Ryan down there. That's going to work out
Yeah,
really
no,
well.
I know.
Yeah, you're playing Junior Rock Speed.
Yeah.
Seth can play with you one.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
No, probably not.
You know, and the thing is this is on a Monday. A lot of these people have actually taken time off of their work or left their offices just to show that this isn't right. What our fisheries minister did was all wrong. Now, all these people out here are some of your best fish conservationists in BC. They spend more money on protecting our wild salmon, and all they ask is that they're able to catch a hatchery fish when they take their guests out fishing, which is a small thing to ask for, considering hatchery fish are not good stock to be entering our rivers to take up space where wild fish should be, or to propagate with wild fish, because hatchery fish, there's no biodiversity.
Yeah.
So these anglers understand that. Our minister does not. Well, I think he does understand it because he's had a lot of science. But this is all political, folks. This is all political.
Yeah, I'm hitting the keyboard. That's how I'm going about it.
That one over there.
Well, there's no one more knowledgeable, and you
Lots
do
of
it
people
well.
out there, but
Yeah.
you know, this never should have happened. This thing, you know, it's just terrible management, rotten decision making. We should be on some type of hatchery mark program and on it right now. And this is what you end up with.
How do you explain that the orcas were late coming back because they were eating Chinook salmon off the California coast?
That's probably
when
where
they need were our Fraser fish river fish down there? Because
No,
they only eat big Fraser.
there's been apparently a pretty good return of early Sacramento fish down there.
Yeah, and the southern resident cod are happy to eat them.
Of course, that's part of their normal range. This is the northern edge of their range.
Well, I buy that, but they say that without the Fraser River Chinook, they won't survive. How do you correlate the two?
It makes sense if you've got a limited amount of Chinook elsewhere, and that's what's been happening to some extent, because they haven't been getting the returns to the Sacramento and the rest of it, partly because of that big blob that's out on the northeast Pacific. But it disappeared a few years ago.
But the reports are there've never been so many Chinook in these waters this year.
Probably true.
Yeah.
There may have been more, but there's a lot. And it's not just here, it's right up and down the coast. Nanaimo's been on fire. Yeah. Lots of hatchery fish.
Sydney, even Sydney, you're
even Sydney,
yeah,
that was a one Chinook, one strike a day place for years. So, it's just, it's almost like they've lost control of the whole situation. But the whales will find the feed if it's there.
Chris Boss, South Vancouver Island Anglers Coalition, here today on Ogden Point, July 15th at 9 o'clock, part of the protest to tell the Department of Fisheries and Oceans that South Vancouver Island anglers don't appreciate the fact that we are in non-retention for Chinook when there are thousands upon thousands of hatchery fish here in the waters, and we could easily retain a hatchery fish. This is not about conservation. We're already under non-retention of Chinook regulations, and our fishery has been decimated. The Department of Fisheries and Oceans needs to open the fishery to hatchery retention and needs to move towards marked selective fishing in the future, which means marking all of the fish that are produced in hatcheries in British Columbia and allowing the public to access those fish because they're visible with their adipose fin clipped. I hope the minister gets this message. Thank you.
Actually work for Alpine Marine.
Anything you want to say? Yeah, those fish's fins didn't fall off by magic. They were touched by public fisheries somewhere from Alaska to California. We have inherent rights to those fish that we helped to create. We have fish returning to Souk this year that were stocked by the net pen, 100% done by anglers. That needs to be recognized, the contribution we put back to the environment. It's not just for fishermen. Those fish have to return to creeks and streams to be part of the ecosystem.
Thanks, how are you? Hi there. I've been working as a fishing guide over the last few years, and I'm now involved in the marine industry, so it's very important for me that we have a sustainable fishery, and it's pretty obvious from all the reports that there are lots of Chinook salmon in these waters. In fact, the southern residents were in California for a long time because California had a record run of salmon this year. I think there's plenty of fish for us and for the whales.
The ironic part is that we put all those hatchery fish, the marked fish that are out there, have been either put in by the United States of America or by the sports fishers of British Columbia. I don't believe too many of them have been put out by the federal government, and certainly none have been put out by the NGOs. The ironical thing is, if we go 12 miles out to sea here, you're allowed to catch fish. And these are the same hatchery fish that we're catching. It's got to be restudied. It's been very, very poorly initiated. Its closure doesn't make any sense.